Last time we talked about our general websites and tools. How can we configure our StarLine systems, and when we can find some installation tips, software, firmware, and etc. Before our today topic, which is about StarLine general settings, let me describe you some moments regarding our previous general topic of the main services, main websites. Here you can see our main websites for installer support: can.starline.ru, which is a CAN software library; help starline.ru, which is a source of manuals, connection diagrams, and firmware. Also, you may download StarLine Master software from there. And you can see a couple more websites which are mostly in Russian at the moment, but you may note these websites also just for some cases. Support StarLine RU, it's like a forum, just to have a conversation between each other, or post some questions to StarLine support specialists. Install.starline.ru. It's a source where our installation manuals, the tips about installation are posted. Let's, Dima, just visit this website, install.starline.ru. Maybe. Well, do you have a Google Chrome? May you switch to English? Okay, maybe just give me a right to show my own screen. Just a moment.
Yes, please show.
Okay. Just a moment. Well, you can see this website is in Russian at present, and you may use Google Chrome translation. Well, here you may find installation guidelines for some needed vehicles. For example, this one. Please note that it's all still in Russian, because it's a real huge work to prepare it in all languages. Even in English, it's quite difficult for us. We have hundreds, maybe thousands of these diagrams. But sometimes, if you have some difficulties to find the correct places of connection, correct connection points, connectors, and so on, you may take a look at this source and find some pictures that will help you to proceed with installation. And anyway, you have a Google Translator just to translate some tips, some notes in these documents. So please be noted about this source also. Another one, support. Let me tell you why I'm talking about this website. Let's get back to StarLine Online. It's a CAN software library. For example, let's check any model. and you can see discuss point of menu. As Dima told previous time, we are working on translation. It will be fixed soon. Please forgive us. So when you click to discuss, you may leave some comments, some questions about this particular vehicle. If you find some issue, maybe mistake, or something is not clear, you may leave here your comments, and our specialist, in this case, particularly Dima Tanayan, will receive your question and will do his best to comment and give you the best needed advice. Well, so please also remember about this possibility. Well, we told about StarLine Master, which is our universal application to configure StarLine systems. It has a desktop version, it has a mobile application version. Soon we're going to introduce it for Apple iPhone as well. And you may connect with any of USB, Bluetooth connection, and even USB OTG when you connect it to your mobile phone. You already know it very well. So let me show you some interesting slide. What is all about? I just wanted to tell you that firmware of our StarLine systems, main units, we may divide it in 3 layers. It looks like a sandwich. Why sandwich? Let's begin from the bottom. Unit firmware. It's a layer when the basic algorithms or the basic functions of the main unit are stored. Unit firmware we may find and download from Help StarLine, or we may update, download with use of StarLine Master. You all know it, mostly all. Another one, upper layer, is CAN software. Why it's like a separate layer? Because here we choose the supporting functions for some particular vehicle. We may either select it, right in StarLine Master from the general CAN software library. We told about it previous time. And at the same time, we can download it from CAN StarLine as a file for individual vehicle software support. Why we have these 2 options? As we told it before, general library, which is already embedded in main unit, has support of all vehicles, but it's updated not so often. It's like a package. So sometimes we got individual firmware for some new vehicles, but it's not yet included in general CAN library inside the unit. So please remember about this. In general, we always advise to use individual vehicle software from canstarline.ru. Please note that. And the next level is configuration. It's kind of independent layer where you may configure individual settings which made in StarLine Master. You may save it in file. You may share this file with your colleagues, with installers, and with us in case of you have any issues. It helps you to store some default settings for the particular cars, and it helps us to discover some issues if you just meet it. And system logs. Last time Dima told you that all StarLine security systems, we talk now about alarm systems. And just M66 tracker already has this option. So main unit always is recording what is happening with it. Every action, every event, every command from user, any event from the vehicle is recorded. And we can extract this file with use of either StarLine master or directly from the main unit with use of SMS command, logload. In the first variant, the logs file is extracted and saved on your computer, and you may send it to us in case if you have any issue. Or you may ask your client to send a logload SMS command. So in this case, this system logs, the file with logs will be transmitted to StarLine server, and we shall find it and we'll be able to discover what is happening with your vehicle. It will help us to find some issues and help you to solve it. Well, at the moment, that's all I wanted to tell you regarding our general previous and the present topic. So now let me give you a word to my colleague Dmitry Tanayan. We shall continue with talking about the settings with the use of our StarLine Master software. Dima?
Okay, thank you, Dmitry. Thank you, Dmitry. A moment, please. I will switch to my translation. One moment, please. Technical moment. Okay, so I connected again E96. Last time we changed firmware version. Now we should change general settings. StarLine system asks us again service code on red plastic card 3657. Confirm. And it loads our settings. Let me set it to factory settings because today I made some tests. Okay, it's at the default factory settings. So we can say it's a new one, E96. General settings. So what do we have here? First of all, we have sections of settings. Their color is blue. So for example, hazard lights and buzzer control. Next section is central lock control. Next section, control of wireless R6 unit, and so on. Each section contains of some specific settings. Let's look at it one by one. Indication when arming and disarming. So when you arm the system by StarLine side, so using button on a tag, using hands-free mode, using mobile application, using any way from StarLine side. No, not from vehicle side, but from StarLine side. In this case, it gives sound and light indication by factory setting. So it means that it will enable hazard lights, give a flash, and give a beep by siren or horn. You can set no. It will give no flashes and no siren sounds. You can set only light and you can set only sound. So without hazard lights or without siren. Next setting is regarding slave mode. When you slave mode helps us to control StarLine by by factory key, by the buttons of factory key fob or factory keyless of the car. When your customer locks the vehicle with the buttons of factory key, StarLine reads this information from CAN or from analog slave and also arms. When owner press disarm, unlocks his vehicle, StarLine reads this information and unlocks. So this setting helps us to indicate this arming. We can set do not confirm. In this case, we will not give siren signals when slave mode, when we arm by slave. We can set confirm by sound signals and disarming and any arming. So it means any arming. If you lock the car, we give a beep, we arm the system and give a beep. When you give additional lock, even when the security system is armed, it will give beep again. Or you can use confirm only once. So only when status changes. You lock the vehicle, system gives beeps when gives beep when it arms. Then you give additional lock, system is still armed, and it does not beep. It will give sounds only when you will disarm next time. If we use sound indication, we can set loudness volume of siren, not horn, but siren, from 10 to 1. Next, alarm indication. When StarLine triggers alarm, it enables siren and horn. You can set nothing to enable, so it will be silent alarm. System will just try to call its owner if it has GSM, or will give some information on remote pager if it has. You can use light indication, so it will give hazard lights control, and sound indication, or you can use both. If you enable siren when alarm, you can choose its volume, its loudness. By factory setting, it's full power, it's 10. Next interesting setting is limit power circuits control with low battery voltage. If you enable this, you can set voltage limit for siren, for lights, hazard lights, for example, and for horn. In this case, when your owner comes to a car, when this car owner comes to a car, unlocks the vehicle, and system voltage is below, for example, 10 volts, StarLine will not control siren, lights, and horn. You can set it, for example, to 9 volts or which voltage you need. It helps us to save as more power inside the battery as possible, to unlock and to allow open hood and give some charge to car battery. If you use connection of hazard lights button, not directly to the lamps, but to the hazard lights button. For example, you use output, you set output as light signal pulse control. As I told you before at previous meeting, this setting gives one pulse to enable hazard lights and second pulse to stop it. You need it if the car does not have fixation, does not fixate the button of hazard lights. And here you should set duration of pressed button and pause between impulses. If you use potential control, right here, potential control, you can also set duration and limit of potential control in milliseconds. If you use factory horn instead of siren for sound indication, you can set duration of impulse for horn. Default is 100 and 550. It's for first string, this string is for arm and disarm confirmation. Second string is for alarm when the system is triggered. If you decrease time of impulse to horn, it will be not so loud. If you give long, it will give a strong, hard beep. Next section is central lock control. First option is to use to enable sequential unlocking and sequential locking, unlocking of factory central lock. This means when you disarm, when you give unlock command from StarLine side, for example, from mobile application or remote pager, StarLine will open only one driver's door. When you give second time unlock command, it will unlock all other doors. So if you enable it, StarLine will unlock when disarm only driver's door, and next second unlock will open all other doors. Don't forget that this option usually needs additional separate connection to the driver's door central lock control and separately to others, to passenger's door. Here you can set duration of impulses for central lock control. It's for analog control. If you use some wires to control central locking, by default, it will be active for 0.8 seconds. The same time is set to trunk unlock impulse, also analog control, not by CAN control. Hood lock, if you use hood lock, also set here. Function comfort. Comfort function means Windows closure. When you arm the system, StarLine activates output, which you set, for example, this output, moment please, output comfort. This wire will be active each time you arm the system for the period of this 30 seconds by default. You can decrease, you can increase. On many cars, not all, but many cars, you can use this wire to close windows. For example, if you connect it to door cylinder, door key cylinder mechanism and lock position. If you insert a key to a door, rotate it to lock position and hold for example 15 seconds, usually it closes doors, windows. So you can use this connection to door key cylinder and set the time you need for this car. Next option is allows us to control central lock when doors are opened. So some cars will damage its lock, door lock, if you try to lock this door when door is opened. Some cars need to give lock command only when doors are closed. That is why default setting factory setting for this option is not to control. In this case, if any door is opened, you give arm, the command to arm the system. System will not give command to central lock to close, to lock. When you close all doors, it will lock. If you enable this option, it will allow to control central lock even with doors opened. Next option, locking of central lock after closing the trunk. This means if you arm the system, then you give remote command to unlock the trunk, to open the trunk. Usually it needs CAN support or an additional analog connection. If you make these connections, you give from mobile application, for example, command to open the trunk. Car opens the trunk. StarLine allows to open it and does not trigger the alarm. When your customer close his trunk, StarLine will, after 1 second, give lock impulse to central lock. So it will lock again central locking. If you do not need this impulse, you just remove this setting, disable it. In this case, your customer will close the trunk and StarLine will not do anything more, any more actions. If you enable it, it will give lock command after trunk closing. Additional central lock control in slave mode. In slave mode, your customer gives lock and unlock commands from factory key or maybe factory keyless entry system from car side, from factory side. And StarLine reads this information and just switches its security mode, arms or disarms, and does not control central lock. Some cars do not control central lock when ignition is active. So when you, for example, when you give a remote start command, engine is remote started. For example, Opel Astra. You start the engine remotely from StarLine mobile application. You come to the car. You press button to unlock on the factory key, but car does not react. The car does nothing. But StarLine can read this unlock command from CAN bus. In this case, you can set additional central lock control when ignition is on. So when you come to a car, give unlock command, StarLine reads unlock command, and StarLine opens doors, unlocks doors. But it works not on each car. Some cars do not react to buttons on the factory key when ignition is on. So factory setting is do not control. Close central locking on a trip. If your customer wants, you can use lock. You can use automatic lock of central locking. For example, when ignition is on, or when vehicle starts and pressing the brake pedal, maybe by handbrake, maybe by parking of automatic transmission selector, or maybe even by speed limit. If you use speed limit, by default is by factory setting is 15. You need for this option to work, you need to read speed from CAN bus. So please check on can.starline.ru that this car supports speed reading in CAN protocol. If speed is supported, you can use lock automatically central locking when speed goes up to more than 15, or even you can set it as you wish. 10 or up to 16. Last setting in this section is unlocking central lock on a trip. By default is disabled, but you can set, for example, when engine stops, when ignition off, by brake pedal, or by parking position of selector. For example, a lot of Toyota cars use factory logic. They lock doors when when selector is moved from parking position, and unlocks when selector moves to parking position. So you can simulate this logic for any car using StarLine system. Wireless service unit R6, I'm not sure you use it, but anyway, our main unit has Bluetooth inside. This helps us to add some Bluetooth remote units. For example, we have R6 unit. It is totally waterproof. It has some power keys and relays. It helps us to control hood lock, additional hood lock. It helps us to control engine blocking, helps us to control siren, read hood limit switch status, and transfer it to main unit. So this R6 unit helps us not to put wires from the cabin under the hood to under the hood compartment. You can use main unit inside the cabin and R6 under the hood. They will be separate and will send packages, communicate with each other by Bluetooth. Next section is hands-free. I think we will make separate meeting regarding hands-free, because if it's rather big topic. For now, I will show you how to set it. What does this setting do? First setting enables or disables hands-free mode in the system. For hands-free mode, owner needs Bluetooth tag, small tag, or he needs to use his smartphone as a tag. So anyway, some Bluetooth device, we need some Bluetooth device to authorize owner. Method of arm and disarm. By default is arming and disarming by tag lost and tag detection. So system detects tag, it unlocks, disarms. System loses tag, it arms. Additional way of control, we can use sensors inside the door handles. We can install it by installer, or maybe we can use factory keys, factory door handles of some other cars. And if you enable it, it will arm when you touch and hold door sensor, and disarm when you touch door sensor. Next options is to disable, for example, by tag button, disable arming and disarming in hands-free mode. For example, if your customer lives in his own house, separate house, and he usually walks near the car, and he does not want his car to lock and unlock anytime he passes through. He can enable these options. Next, he can arm by the button on a tag, and hands-free will be disabled for the next ignition switch. So he just arms by button on a tag, and he can come to a car and go away as long as he wants. Car will not lock and unlock by tag resistance. Here you can set time to wait before lock, before arm the system, after trunk and after door closing and opening. Last setting is what to do is excuse me. It's additional parameters of operating in loss of tag with violated zone. For example, when your customer did not close properly door and walks away, system loses a tag, does not see it, and you can set cancel arming and notify by siren. In this case, system will not arm if the door is open and give additional siren sound to notify owner that arming is cancelled. Or you can just disable it and system will try to arm even with open door if it loses a tag. Next section is regarding tag settings, tag detection area and tag loss area. I recommend you to use as much as big area as possible, because if you set it very small, your customer will have some issues with tag detection. So when you make some tests in diagnostics, you can see that tag is visible or not. So you can connect your laptop and put a tag closer or maybe on some distance and check, is it visible or not? Please don't try to set it as small as possible. Try to set it bigger. Try to set it large. It's tag detection, tag loss, and tag detection. And next is smartphone as a tag, loss, and detection. In next firmware version, 2.20, you will be able to, here will be additional setting of usage smartphone as a tag. Maybe some customer wants to use smartphone for mobile application by Bluetooth, but does not want to use his smartphone as a tag. So here will be additional checkbox, and you will set here the setting of smartphone as a tag, use or not to use. And this last setting of tag is to notify siren and light when battery discharged in the tag. When the system, StarLine system, detects a tag with discharged battery, not good battery, is low power battery, it will notify owner by siren and light. He will enable, when he turns on ignition, enables ignition, system gives 3 beeps of siren and 3 flashes of hazard lights. For example, if your customer calls you and says, I start the engine and it gives me 3 siren signals, you should recommend him to change a battery in his tag. Anti-hijack mode by tag or by remote key if the system has remote pager. Remote key, it means remote StarLine remote key, not factory key. If you enable it, StarLine will have constant control of tag pre-existence. When owner drives his car, if he stops, opens a door, and after door open, and after next step is movement detection, built-in accelerometer will wait for movement detection. After it, system starts to search for a tag again. If the tag is in the car, so nothing, no more additional actions, and owner continues his drive. If the tag is not detected after door open and after movement, tag is lost, system will start these 3 steps. System will try to search for 30 seconds or less or more, as you said. Search for a tag or for a remote pager. Next step, first step, it will wait after movement, for example, for 10 seconds. Next step, 60 seconds, 1 minute, it will search. Third step, system will give warning, give beeps of siren and built-in buzzer or external buzzer if it has. So system will give signals to notify its owner, to notify your customer that engine will block soon. And after these 60 seconds, engine will block and system will block, will enable, trigger the alarm, enable siren, enable hazard lights, try to call, send SMS, activate alarm on a pager, and so it goes to full anti-hijack mode to alarm. If you do not need anti-hijack mode, just disable both options. These options switched to inactive, so no anti-hijack with this setting. Next important section is operation modes. First setting is rearming permission. If you enable it, you can enable or disable. Rearming means you give from StarLine side, from mobile application or tag or remote pager, you give a command to disarm. System disarms, unlocks doors, and waits. If you did not open a door, did not enable ignition, or did not open a trunk, system will arm again. So system will think that last disarming was a mistake. So nobody came to a car and it arms back. By factory setting, it's enabled, and for 30 seconds it will wait. So you give disarm, 30 seconds, no doors, no ignition, no trunk, it arms again. If you disable it, you disarm, and it will not arm back anymore. Auto arming means almost the same as hands-free, but it does not, this auto arming does not check tag persistence or losing. This auto arming, you have 2 settings for this: time to after arming and delay of locking. This means you stop the engine, you go out of the car, you close doors, it waits for 10 seconds, StarLine waits for 10 seconds, and gives beep, arms. If you open a door in these 10 settings, nothing will arm. When you close a door, it will start 10 seconds count again, and after 10 seconds will arm. After it, in 20 seconds, it will lock central lock. Because maybe it armed accidentally, and you will have 20 seconds to open a door, because keys may be inside. We do not control tag, we do not check tag in this auto arming. So I'm not sure you need it, and that is why it's disabled by factory setting. Delay in taking sensors in ARM. Not the best translation, but this means delay of activating movement and shock sensors after arm. Default factory setting is 15 seconds. In 15 seconds, you arm the system, it starts to count 15 seconds. In these 15 seconds, you can shake your car, you can knock, you can do anything. It will not activate shock and move sensors. Why do you need it? If you have maybe some relays, some units deactivating after arming, maybe windows are closing, maybe sunroof is closing, or maybe some car ventilation switches off. So not to trigger alarm for 15 seconds, you can use this delay. If you do not need a delay, you just can set it to 1 second. In this case, system will ignore shock sensors only for 1 second after arming. Authorization and immobilizer mode. We will make additional webinar, additional meeting regarding operation modes of our systems. We will talk about authorization, immobilizer mode, service mode, and so on. But where do you set it? It's here. Authorization. In slave, by factory setting is in slave mode. System is armed. You give unlock command from factory key. System does not go to disarm directly. System goes to authorization of owner. Authorization means that StarLine system needs to ensure that unlock command was sent by car owner. So it will search, for example, for a tag or for remote pager of StarLine, or wait for factory pin confirmation. If authorization is passed successfully, system goes to the next step. If authorization is not passed, not successfully, so there is no tag, there is no remote, and pin code is not entered. System goes to alarm, activates sirene, activates hazard lights, activates engine blocking, and calls to phone of its owner. If you set all, if you enable all sections, remote, tag, and standard buttons, it will wait for anything of this. So if you enable all three, one will be enough. So if you use a tag, it's enough, it will pass. If you have only remote, yes, it will pass. And if you enter your pin, it will pass. If you need to authorize only by tag, so disable everything and enable only tag. Next operation mode after authorization, it's immobilizer mode. In immobilizer mode, system allows to open doors, to open trunk, to start the engine, to shock the car, to tilt the car. But it will enable engine blocking by movement detection. It will not trigger alarm. So in immobilizer mode, no siren, no hazard lights, nothing. It's silent security, something like this. Factory setting is pin code of buttons, and you can use tag, for example. If you do not need any authorization of owner, if you don't need any immobilizer mode, if you just want to lock and unlock from factory key and no confirmation, just disable all of this. No authorization, no immobilizer mode. In this case, system will have only two operating modes, arm and disarm. Anybody comes with factory key, gives unlock command, system disarms. Anybody comes with factory key, gives arm command, system arms. It's not secure. not secure enough, but if your customer wants it, you can use like this. Immobilizer mode by factory setting is system uses it only once by security cycle. So when you give unlock, when you authorize, when you disable immobilizer, you are able to drive, and you can switch on stop engine, start engine, stop engine anytime anytime you need. So start and stop as much as you want. When you arm the system and next time disarm, you will need again to authorize and to disable immobilizer mode. You can switch this setting to every time ignition is off. In this case, you disarm, you authorize, you pass immobilizer, start the engine, move, stop, disable ignition, stop the engine, disable ignition. And when you start the engine again, you will need again to pass immobilizer mode. So you will need to put pin code every time you start the engine. If you want to have a possibility to start the engine, authorize, pass immobilizer mode, enter pin buttons by buttons, drive, stop, and have, for example, a minute to be able. In this minute, you can start the engine and drive without pin code. If you stop the engine, wait more than 1 minute, start the engine, and you will need again to put pin code. So this setting enables immobilizer mode only once. This setting enables immobilizer mode every time you start the engine. Our systems have valid mode. It's service mode. There are various names of this mode. This mode means that StarLine system is disabled. No security, no engine control, nothing. Customer needs this mode to visit some workshop, to have maintenance of his car, to change oil, maybe change some liquids, fix something in his car. He enables valid mode by his StarLine page, by his mobile application, or any way he prefer. And when he give a car in valid mode to a workshop, he does not need to tell them pin code, does not need to give any tags, remotes, or something like this. He just gives factory key, and that's all. In valid mode, StarLine is disabled. StarLine can exit this mode automatically. So maybe your customer will forget after workshop to disable valid mode. And he will maybe arm the system. He will take the car from the workshop, move somewhere, leave his car, lock it, and he will think that it is secured. The car is secured, but the system is still in valid mode and no security. To prevent this situation, we have automatic exit of valid mode. We can use distance, we can speed limit, use speed limit, or we can use both. In this case, we use meters and kilometers per hour. We can set distance, which we allow to drive in valid mode. So if customer switches system to valid mode, car moves more than set distance, and system goes to authorization mode. So it tries to find a tag, waits for PIN or something like this, and if not, it triggers alarm, and your customer receives a call that someone drives your car more than he said, than he allowed. The same works speed limit. If you set, for example, 20 kilometers per hour, if someone, some workshop man drives your car more than 20 kilometers an hour, so it switches automatically, exits valid mode, tries to find a tag, and so on. So this will help you, first, will help to not to forget exit valid mode. Second, it will prevent some people on workshop to drive your car in their own needs. Next, this option allows to cancel the alarm by factory key. By factory setting, by default, it's not allowed to stop the alarm, stop panic of the system by factory key. Why did we disable it? I think all of you know about retranslation, code grabbing, and such technologies. So someone can simulate the radio package from factory key of owner using some hacking device. He hacks radio frequency. Someone gives a command for the car to unlock. It unlocks, and in slave mode, as we said, it goes to authorization of the owner. It tries to find a tag, for example, or remote key. It does not find a remote key because owner is not close to the car. And the system goes to alarm. If you enable this, so this bad guy with some hacking device gives again command to disarm, and if this is enabled, system will stop alarm. But by factory it's not enabled, and system will not stop alarm if someone gives unlock, but system will not stop alarm until it see its remote key or a tag, or until you give disarm command from mobile application. Next, accounting delay of switch current area. Sometimes on analog cars without CAN bus, installers connect input of door limit switch to interior light, to lamps inside the cabin. And some cars use a delay for this light. So owner closes doors, arm the system, and light is active for some seconds and smoothly disables. If you connect your wire to this lamp, you need to enable this setting. In this case, StarLine will give 60 seconds delay after arming for the door limit switch. It's enough to use connection to the door interior lamp, even if lamp disables not immediately. Regarding trunk, this option allows to unlock the trunk when StarLine tag or StarLine remote pager is close to the car, is detected. In this case, you can open your trunk in the car by factory key, or even by key rotating by mechanical way. In this setting, StarLine reads trunk limit switch and checks tag and remote key close to the main unit. If remote key or attack is detected, system does not activate the alarm and system works well. If StarLine will not detect tag or remote key, it will trigger alarm and show open trunk in mobile application and on the remote page. Next string is duration, is time for a time to search tag or remote pager for this option. So these two options work together. Next option to combine doors and trunk, combine hood and trunk. If you need it, you can, for example, combine doors and trunk. In this case, if you open door, StarLine will show opened door and trunk. If you open trunk, StarLine will show both trunk and door. If you use this, you open hood, StarLine will show opened hood and trunk. If you open trunk, StarLine will show hood and trunk, both. So if you sometime will need to combine it, here you are, you have these options. Emission of brake pedal and parking brake reading with ignition off. On many cars, brake pedal, handbrake, and parking of selector automatic transmission, they are not active when ignition is off. So on many cars, you cannot read these three status with disabled ignition. They usually work only when ignition is on. But if you have some car which can give you this information without ignition, or maybe you have analog connection to handbrake and to parking brake, and it works even without ignition, even without power. It works because it's simple ground connection. And you need to read it without ignition. You just click here, enable this option, and this helps us, it allows StarLine to read this status without ignition, without active ignition. Control the communication channel with remote key. StarLine remote key, StarLine remote pager. If you enable this, each 3 minutes will send a package to main unit. If main unit gives back an answer, this means that connection is active, so everything is okay. If remote pager does not receive answer, it will give sound and indicate that there is no connection between pager and main unit. Each 3 minutes, it will check connection. When connection is detected again, is established again, it will give another signal and show that connection is active. Zone of this setting helps us to set the detection area of remote key. So factory is 8, you can use up to 10. Beach mode is this mode helps us to leave all keys, tags, remote pages, everything inside of a car. But we need additional connection, for example, to the some outside button. For example, to the button on the trunk, button on the trunk, maybe button on door handle if the car has it. And you can use beach mode. In this case, owner stops the engine, presses 3 times service button, valid button, goes out, and 3 times presses external button. Excuse me. System goes to the beach mode, and the car can be opened only by entering emergency PIN code, which is on the red plastic card under the security layer. He will need to enter it by the same external button outside. For example, on the button on the trunk. So he will, for example, 3 times valid button, move out, open trunk, leave all his keys, cell phone, and everything in the trunk, close trunk, 3 times button on the trunk, car locks. He goes swim, fishing, having fun, and so on. He comes back, gives the 3 presses on the trunk. System gives flashes by hazard lights and waits of enter these 4 digits. So he enters 1 digit, system gives flash, 2nd digit gives flash, 4 digit of PIN code is entered correctly, system unlocks. This option, last option in this section, helps us, allows to enter this PIN code by external button. Next section is time of authorization. Authorization is here. For example, now we set it as tag and remote key, tag or remote key in this case. And this is time of authorization. So first, event of authorization. For example, slave mode unlock. We give unlock on factory key fob. System goes to the first step, time of searching of a tag or remote key. For 15 seconds, it tries to find a tag or remote key. Or for 30 seconds, it waits for PIN code enter if you choose PIN code authorization. Second step, warning warning by built-in boozer or external boozer. If you use some boozer, system will, for 10 seconds, give you some beeps to notify that there is no tag or factory, there is no tag or StarLine page detected. It will give for notifications for 10 seconds. Next, it will give notifications by siren, horn, and hazard lights, again for 10 seconds. So if you use not factory buttons, but if we set tag or remote key, in this case, we unlock, system tries to find for 15 seconds, next 10 seconds, notification by boozer, next 10 seconds, notification by siren. So 35 seconds, if we count it, yes, 35 seconds. It tries to find authorization device, so a tag or StarLine page. If it does not find in this time, it goes to alarm mode. It triggers alarm, enables siren, enables hazard lights, and own notification. Event of authorization owners in slave mode. So here we just enable and disable slave mode. First option, I did not choose a car, so the car is without CAN now. And in this case, I cannot enable or disable slave mode by CAN bus. I can enable or disable analog slave mode. So slave mode, which is connected by analog connections by wires. Or I can set additional authorization by opening, for example, a door with running engine, or just regular opening the door. For example, we can on some cars, we can read only log command, such as Volvo XC60 from 2011. We can read by CAN bus log command, but we cannot read this unlock command, disarm. So in this case, we just add additional authorization by door open. In this case, owner opens door, and by door opening, system starts this sequence of authorization. So after door open, system tries to find a tag or remote pager. Next section. Here we can set event to start authorization. By factory settings, we start authorization only in slave mode, so only when we receive from CAN bus command to disarm. After it, we start to search a tag or remote. We can add additional authorization after, for example, StarLine remote key disarming, and set it, for example, by tag. In this case, owner gives unlock command on StarLine pager, but system tries to find a tag. If tag is detected, everything is okay. Tag is not detected, system goes to alarm. Second option is to use authorization by hands-free and after tag button. For example, if you use hands-free and, for example, standard buttons. In this case, owner comes to a car, StarLine detects tag, unlocks, and does not disarm, but goes to authorization mode. So waits for factory buttons in code. Prohibition of disarming. We have two options, by StarLine remote pager and by factory system. What does it mean? If you enable this StarLine remote pager, remote key, StarLine remote key will be unable unlock the car if the tag is not detected by the main unit. So if the tag is not close to the car, your owner will not be able to unlock it by StarLine pager. This option helps us to almost disable authorization. In this case, StarLine first tries to find a tag, and after it goes to authorization mode. So if tag is detected and StarLine receives a command from CAN bus to disarm, it goes to authorization and so on. It works normal. If the tag is not detected and from CAN bus StarLine receives, if there is no tag, and StarLine receives a command to disarm, StarLine ignores this command and door open will trigger alarm. Next section is for analog slave timing settings. Analog slave, if you need it, we have a video instruction for it, which I think is more suitable, more easy to use instead of this. And the last for today is battery settings. We have only two settings. Low voltage setting by factory settings is 12 volts. Low voltage, what does it mean? When system voltage comes less than, for example, 12, comes below this setting, StarLine will send SMS to its owner, enable some, give a signal on remote pager under 12 volts. If StarLine reads voltage incorrectly, so in diagnostics, you see that StarLine shows incorrect voltage. you can check by voltmeter on car battery, and if it's wrong, at the bottom of general settings, you can adjust system voltage. You can decrease it to 5 and increase to 5. Every time, don't forget to save settings to device. So that was the biggest section of StarLine Master general settings. And Dmitry, please tell me if we have some questions. I'm sure we have.
Yes, we have some questions and long conversation about support of ICANN engine stop function. But we shall continue this topic in our next sessions. For example, in webinar about engine blocking.
Yeah, we will talk about engine blocking, but a bit later. Let's go step by step.
Yes, what is regarding today's topic, Otto Violacona asked us about an option of delay on sensors after arming. Does it apply to auxiliary sensor? He means external sensors.
External sensors. Yes, it should work even with external sensors. Excuse me. No, it works with shock sensors and motion sensors. If you need a delay for some additional sensors, you will need flexible logic. And let's leave it for further discussion, or if you need it right now, or some closer to today.
Yes. What about questions regarding today's topic about general settings?
Excuse me. If you need flexible logic for delay for external sensors, please contact us. I will show you this setting.
Ash is asking, auxiliary sensor 1 and 2 should have notes that one is one away, the other is the main trigger, perhaps on next update. One away.
If I understand correctly, he needs auxiliary sensor 1 work as warning level, so beep beep beep, and that's all.
Yes.
And auxiliary sensor 2, he needs to work as alarm, full alarm. Did I understand correct or not? Please let us know.
Maybe you may enable voice from Ash. We can see him. Dima.
Moment, please.
He will describe
Dima,
us with voice.
You are organizer. You are the main. You are the boss.
Just a moment. Okay, Ash, you may describe your question.
Hi guys. No, what I meant was AUX1 and AUX2 does not tell you whether it's a main trigger, or whether it's a warn-away. It's only by off chance I found out that AUX1 was a warn-away. Sorry, the other way around. AUX2 is a warn-away. AUX1 is a main trigger. Is that correct?
Do you understand?
You
yes,
can't use AUX1 and 2 and set it for warn-away.
Yes, he means the description on this.
Yeah, it's mainly the wording, because I think AUX2 is only a warn-away trigger.
Yes, they have different sections. They are different levels.
Yeah,
so
it'd
one
be
is
good that would be worded differently for engineers to not get confused.
Yes, thank you. I will write it down, and we will change this to warning and to main alarm, something like this.
It's a good proposition, Ash. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We shall
I'm
try
a
to
part of the
introduce.
StarLine tech team now, you see.
Yeah. Yes. We will write down your proposition. I think yes, you are right. We need to describe it more narrowly.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Dmitry, maybe other questions?
Yes. Yes. Also, another question regarding flexible logic. If we have some time, what is passive and active on sensor on flexible logic? I think Ash means condition. Passive
I
and
will
active on sensor.
only two words. We will have a separate meeting for flexible logic, but two words: active and inactive. For example, input, some yellow, for example, active state and passive state. Active state, if this is input positive. This is positive input, yellow, positive. So positive input, active state, means that this input, this wire, is connected to positive 12 volts. If you measure what's happening on this wire, you will see 12 volts. It means active state. If it is not connected anywhere, or maybe it's negative right now, something like this, this means passive state. So this wire is not active. Something like this.
When we talk about sensors, it should give the ground, right? Not a positive voltage.
Sensors usually negative, yes. Most sensors, as I know, are negative.
Yes, okay. Question from Otto Violacona. Can one sensor be turned off by tag or arming or remote pager?
Not today, not yet. We have such questions. We receive such questions to have some command, some maybe combination of actions or buttons to disable shock sensors, movement sensors. Today, we can use flexible logic for it. For example, it will take some time, but anyway, for example, external commands. Command from mobile application. In our mobile application, I think you saw it, we have a button with a star, which means something like execute flexible logic program or do flexible logic program. So this is this event. And if security complex separation mode is ARM, security on ARM. So we can sensor, for example, shock sensor, enable ignoring. Enable ignoring means ignore shock sensor. And the same, for example, sensor, shock sensor weak, enable ignoring. So don't forget to enable it and type a name, for example, shock ignore. When you save to device, so your customer, in this case, arm the system, in his mobile application, press a button with a star, and it will disable shock sensors, which is what is very important. In first program, we disabled sensors. We disable sensors, but we need some event to enable it back, or it will be disabled for restart of the system. So, for example, by disarming shock sensor strong, disable ignoring, and shock sensor weak, sensor weak, disable ignoring. Shock and enable. In this, so save to device, and this is how we can, by this event, if security is on, if the system is armed, we will enable ignoring of shock sensors. So we will disable shock sensors. And by disarming, we will disable ignoring. So we will turn on shock sensors again. We will enable it back. Something like this.
Hey, Dima, thank you. But Ash described his question. Actually, he was meaning a passive and active state of ES1 sensor, touch sensor.
ES1 sensor has 3 wires. Red is positive, connected to somewhere positive 12 volts. Black is negative, you can connect it to the ground. And green one is signal wire. It's negative. So when you touch ES1 sensor, it's a capacity sensor. When you touch it, it enables green wire. It gives negative signal to green wire, ground signal. So while you touch it, while you hold it, green wire is negative. In this case, you should connect green wire to negative input, because from ES1 it is output, it goes out from ES1, and it comes in to StarLine main unit, and it's input to StarLine. So you should set it, for example, to door handle sensor, and this will be enough. If you want to use your own logic, flexible logic, for example, which we set as 16, you will use as event flexible analog inputs 60 in door sensor. Active state means someone holds the sensor, it gives negative and it comes inside StarLine negative. Or passive state, it's so someone release it. Someone touch is active, so it's active, someone holds it. Or passive, it's free. Yeah.
Okay. One of the first questions was concerning so-named historical CAN software. I replied to Tony that now we have this opportunity at CAN StarLine, right? May you show how
Moment,
can
please.
extract
CAN.StarLine.
the third page at your yes.
No. Anyway, can.starline.ru, main page, English. You do not need to choose a device, but go to all supported cars. Here, StarLine, choose, for example, E96, E66. And firmware, here are main units, full libraries. And you can use from old to fresh. But anyway, we recommend to use individual firmware directly from car section, as I showed you last time. Dima?
Yes, thank you. And Tony is asking, does door handle sensor activate alarm as default, or we need to set logic?
Default, no, it does not activate alarm by default. Even more, we recommend to use negative power, black wire, not to connect to the ground, but connect to the status output, to the output of StarLine unit. In this case, when you come with a tag, it activates, it turns on, and it calibrates because maybe it was rainy, maybe it is fog, and capacity sensor, ES1 is capacity sensor, may be enabled by water. So not to enable it without your owner, you can set its power, you can enable it, turn it on only when the tag is close to the car. So he comes with the tag, ES1 enables, ES1 calibrates when it enables, it calibrates each time it turns on. It calibrates, he touch the sensor and unlock the car. If you need constant power, if you use constant power on ES1 sensor and there is no tag detected, system will just ignore this input, ignore touching ES1 sensor. If you need alarm or maybe warnings sound by touching sensor without a tag, you will need flexible logic. So again, you will need door handle sensor passive state, security on, tag, any tag, no tag. So someone touches sensor, not passive state, active state. Someone touches it, it's active. Active state, security on, the system is armed, and there is no tag close to the car. In this case, indication, siren, enable, full volume, 5 beeps for 1 second with a pause of 1 second. Something like this. Done. Dima?
Okay, maybe we may show how to set this channel as a status output for the sensor.
Okay. As I said you before, ES1 has 3 wires: positive to positive, green, which is sensor. We will connect to pin number 16 in this example. And black, we will not connect to constant power. We will connect to any output and set it as status output. Status output. We will have conversation even regarding status outputs next. But anyway, status outputs. Here, we set black and white as status output 1. We will connect this wire to black wire of ES1. ES1 black wire, black white StarLine. This output is negative. So when this wire will be active, when we turn on this wire, it will turn on ES1 sensor. We need activate black and white wire, it will activate sensor. When this wire will be active? By default, active with a tag, passive when there is no tag. So tag is closed, wire is active. Tag is not detected, wire is not active, sensor is not enabled. Also, we can enable this wire even without a tag. For example, when the system is disarmed. Why do they need it? I'm not sure for this example, but if you need ES1 active to be active without tag, when the system is disarmed, you can just enable here and safety device. That's all. This black and white wire will be active when with a tag and passive without a tag, and will be active when the system is disarmed even without a tag. Dima?
Okay, and Ash is also asking, in channels, he noticed the other door handle sensor don't work when you use them in Flex Logic. Is it right?
Flex Logic is It's better to have an example when do you use it in flexible logic. Anyway, we have door handle sensor. It works like factory logic of door handle sensor is hold to arm and touch for disarm. You can use separate sensors. Maybe you install two sensors into one handle. In this case, you will use touch one to arm and touch second to disarm. Separate sensors for arm and disarm. With you do not need to hold it. Touch arm section, touch disarm section. Boot handle sensor. Usually we use this input to connect the wire of button on tailgate, on trunk. We connect wire of trunk button to this input, and without additional logic, when this wire is active and the tag is detected, StarLine gives a command to open the trunk. Gives a command by analog connection or by CAN bus, depending on a car and depending on connection you made. Diva?
Okay, I think if Ash or anybody has more questions about touch sensor, you may mail, chat us, and we will try to describe it more narrowly.
We have a lot of videos, but they all are in Russian.
Rene is asking, is it possible to set impulse duration to lock sensor?
To lock what sensor?
Which lock sensor he means? Maybe you could describe your question.
Maybe it is possible to describe, because
Yes,
it's a little bit hard.
EC1 in lock. He means.
How long do you need to hold?
Yes.
Hands-free section, general settings, hands-free section, enable. Arming by holding the sensor. And the next is time to hold. Default factory setting is 0.7. I usually use on my car 1.2. So 1.2 seconds I hold, system arms. If I touch it for half of a second or for 1 second, it will not arm. So here you set the time of holding sensor. Dima?
Okay. For door, yes, for door handle sensor, but if you choose lock sensor.
If you choose lock sensor, you will not need any duration. You will need only touch. Duration is needed only with general door lock. So door handle sensor, general sensor, not low arm or disarm. If you use one sensor, both for arm and disarm, you will need to hold for arm and touch for disarm. If you use separate sensors for arming and disarming, you do not need to hold, you just touch. Dima?
He means he needs it in camper van, in camper vehicle.
It's better to write a mail and we will send maybe some ready solution or something like this.
Describe the case. We will type your an email address of Dima. Just a moment.
Yeah, please type it to chat.
Yes. So please send your question in details. We will try to describe it. Okay, guys. Now we are close to the end of today's session. We even exceeded our time. It's like a bonus from the Zoom. Next time we're gonna continue with the StarLine master settings, describing, explaining, and the next topic will be about remote start section, automatic start, remote start,
Bumper
So
timer,
you,
preheater.
yes, all regarding these two sections. Next webinar is planned on Friday, 17, at the same time, 8 o'clock Moscow, 7 European time, and 6 p.m. Britain. So we shall notify you with the link again. Next time we will try to carry out this webinar at our
Different platform.
on different platform which we usually use in our company. We shall compare which is more convenient for all of us, and it will be a fixed link. We will give you a link in advance, and you will just log in at the time of webinar starting. So thank you all for joining us today. Nice to see you all. Nice to see you all in good, I guess, in good mood and condition. So stay home, keep calm, keep safe, and let's get in touch.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you too. Yes. Bye bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
We are shutting down the session.
Mhm.